Most people think of great painters as someone who's mastered technique or composition, but every once in a while we run into a guy he mastered both of these for sure, but I also think he mastered two things that we can use to make us better photographers. Today we're going to look at a guy he wasn't just painting scenes, he was capturing moments. The same ones you and I chase around, run around with our cameras. And the weird thing is, almost nobody talks about him. Carl Bloch was born in 1834 in Copenhagen, Denmark. In 1855, he enrolled at the Royal Danish Academy for Art. In 1859, he received a grant to travel. And he went to Holland and France, but most time he spent bouncing around Italy, centered around Rome. I think while in Rome, he focused on two people. One, finding his wife, Miss Alma, and number two, a guy named Rembrandt. Rembrandt definitely had an influence on the way Bloch painted the rest of his life, and I think he honored him quite well. In my opinion, this dude could paint like few before him at the time and since then. But I think there are a couple of reasons, in my opinion, that why he was not more successful and more known today than his contemporaries. First reason being place. Second reason being what was going on at that time. At the time, you had two art hubs, one being France. These two guys right here, they cast a pretty big shadow. And in Italy, you had the Macchiaioli. Yeah, sorry if I butchered that one, but it's a tough one. And the more time I spend, looking at these works, they're pretty incredible. They remind me a lot of vintage film for some reason. I guess the faded color look. And let me know in the comments if you'd like to know a little bit more about some of the artists from that movement. But Carl Bloch understood something. To me, something that makes an image just as powerful today as it did then. Whether it's on canvas or photographic paper, or it doesn't matter. Two things. One, has to tell a story. And number two, it has to make you feel something. He wasn't just painting events. He wasn't just painting scenes. He was capturing the moment before something happens or right afterwards. Look at the faces. Everybody's reacting to something, or about to. A glance, a hesitation, a conversation you weren't meant to hear. He isn't telling you a story. He's letting you overhear it. And when you start to look at his work this way, it becomes very familiar. Not just as a painting, but something closer to what we chase today, whether it's street photography, photojournalism, social documentation. But no labels, just observing life. A girl tapping at a window, a baker stepping outside catching a smoke, flirting with a girl, children peeking in at a fish market. These aren't just staged ideas. These are moments found, moments felt. And nowhere is this clearer than in a Roman Osteria. At first glance, it feels simple. A room, people, conversation. Stay with it. It begins to unfold. Every figure doing something different. Every expression slightly shifting. You can almost hear the room. And what's fascinating, it wasn't just one artist's idea. Wilhelm Marstrand painted it. A lesser known, Anne Marie Elizabeth painted it. And then Bloch painted his version. Almost like a conversation between these artists, just their versions, the way they saw it, the way they felt it. And quietly, Mr. Bloch placed himself inside it, along the commissioner of the painting, Mr. Morris G. Melchior. Not performing, just present, observing. And maybe that's where it all began. Before Bloch painted, rooms and scenes like this, he was in them, observing. Because on Thursdays, at the home of Mr. Morris, there were such a thing called as Thursday dinners. He was surrounded by other artists and storytellers, including Mr. Hans Christian Andersen, whom you may have heard of. He's written quite a few little good stories. Can you imagine sitting at a dining table with a dude like this? Man, that's how you learn storytelling. Not performances, not stage, just people being people sitting around a dining table having a conversation. I think the world would be a better place if we had more of them. And this is where Bloch does something kind of powerful. He doesn't just paint a scene and let you watch it. He puts you inside of it. And one of my favorite pieces from him, and is the mocking of Christ. He puts you inside of it pretty quickly. And the question becomes, where do you stand? Do you like being stared at? But to me, the painting is the way it makes me feel is, Jesus he's saying, no worries, brother. I got this. This is more than storytelling. This is feeling. Because in his world, just like our world, the world demands a spectacle, something loud. But he chose something different. He chose to whisper through stillness. He didn't create for applause. He just created to share a story. Whether it was in an alley, catching a baker with a smoke, walking into an Osteria, or the final hours of Jesus Christ, the approach was the same. If you take anything from Bloch, take this. Don't look for loud moments. Look for the ones that most people miss. The glance, the pause, the in-between. Because to me, the best images are the ones that don't shout. They're the ones that stay quiet, but say everything anyway. And maybe the goal isn't just to make louder images, but to learn the power of a whisper. Well, that wraps up this episode. Hope you enjoyed. Appreciate you watching. And next time you're out with the camera, look for that story. Listen for that whisper. But as always, create something real.